Hello, my dear. Oh, let me do my participants. Right. Promoting to panelists. Awesome. What you got? Yeah.
Oh,
How you
I-
doing there?
a nice glow.
Darn it. It's me again. Hang on.
No, that's
Haha.
the sun
I
shining
am-
in your window.
I know. That's perfect. No, you're good. It's so beautiful out. It's not even funny. So, yeah, tonight should be pretty good, I would think.
What are we
So,
talking about? Kidneys?
yeah, the herbs of the kidneys. So, or the kidneys and bladder, really. But when I started diving in, it's such an important topic that it's going to get it'll be pretty interesting. So, as we go, so
Okay.
so as we will as we go, if you have any questions, go through because it's a little not as much herbal, but more explanation. So hopefully,
Okay.
so there's a lot of herbs that are really powerful. One that I'm glad we did it because now I'm gonna carry it in our office. So I know
Yeah.
so that'll be good. So
Good.
yeah, so welcome everybody to the 1% Tribe. Sorry about the hiatus last week, but we were learning some serious stuff. So this week I want to tell you about some of the stuff we were learning, just to get you rolling on that. Hang on, let me check. Make sure I do this thing on my phone so I can watch the Facebook stuff. See, make sure we're running. Okay, we're good. Okay. Oops. Oh shoot. I forgot to change that sucks. Okay. Well, it's not in the title on the Facebook. That is correct. It's going to be herbs of the kidney and bladder tonight. And so but before we do that, I want to start with just the things that we did this weekend. It was kind of a big weekend. Some of those things I always say the universe throws you some cool info as we go and growth opportunities. So the doctors in our office were at a chiropractic convention, and Amy was finishing up her what they call Psych K. Psych K is the way that we're going to approach something totally different that a lot of places will not, or like a lot of holistic practitioners don't have, is that ability to take away or to help with the subconscious programming. If you remember, we talk about it all the time. Most of your day is run 95% of your day is subconscious. 5% is conscious. That's one reason change is so hard. What Amy's been through is going to be monumental in so many different ways, from like chronic pain to the old football limp to whatever we go. And we'll talk about that as we go, because a lot of these now we're going to be able to add Amy's expertise basically into the thoughts, right? And so it's something I've studied for a really long time. Understanding thoughts is a big part. A lot of people like the herb stuff, and that is a huge portion. But remember, it's thoughts, toxins, trauma every time, right? So thoughts, the subconscious programs that are running this thing and that make you feel a certain way every time. Toxins are what we put in us or try to keep out of our body. And then the traumas. So like trauma, like something happens to you, like get hit by a car or whatever, right? So those are three keys that if you get a hold of those and figure out a way to do it, because you're never going to not have toxins in your life. You're never going to have bad, zero thoughts or anything. Those are going to be big pieces to growing you as a person. And we've added that to our holistic coaching at the office. So I cannot wait to see where that goes. Some people have started to do it already, so I'm pretty pumped. I think we're just going to keep gaining. The other is that we have what they call, so we have a a deep heat laser or a cold laser. It's called a cold laser already, and it's for like one joint that's kind of like a pretty big deal to you. So let's say your right shoulder's having issues or, something like that. We have just added what they call a low level laser. It allows you to do other things. Not only are we going to be able to work on like athletes of like a kid athlete for a smaller injury, but we'll actually be able to hit multiple joints in the body, organs, a lot of different cool things. And so that was kind of my update today. I was going to look at and see the newest, latest, and greatest. The other thing that I'm noticing, and we got to be careful of this because we understand the power of vitamin D, but we can't take too much of it. So remember that when going forward, too much vitamin D starts to compete with calcium, and it runs kind of right into our day to day. When we don't get enough calcium, we get a problem too, right? So we can have problems in the kidney as well. So what we're noticing is people understanding that vitamin D is really good for your health. However, if you take too much, basically, it's not going to cause you any problems, maybe a little fatigue possibly, but what happens is it's a perfect balance. So sometimes getting the blood work done to see where your vitamin D level is a really good idea. So, and we have that at the office too now. So just to let you know, if you don't have your MD, wanted to do that too. Sometimes my MDs love when you take your health serious and ask questions like that. So either way, it's good. But let's start with the kidneys. All right, let me see if I can do this. I saw Sadie. Is she still there?
Yeah, no, she peeked in here for a minute. She said, "When are you going to be done?" I said, "I just started."
That is so funny. That happens because get in there. Slideshow from the beginning. Have you ever noticed that with kids? Like, I could be the guy for 24 hours straight. Like, a kid won't talk to me. As soon as I get on the phone, holy smokes. It's like everything in their mother, they need something. But
every time.
It was the craziest thing. Like, I used to laugh about that all the time because it was, I'm like, how does this happen? I've been here 10 hours.
I know.
And nothing. And now I'm on the phone and you need 7 things.
Yep. All at once.
Yes. So just like before, nature needs no help, just no interference, right? And so a kidney is a big part of that. All right. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the kidney and the bladder. What does it mean actually holistically? And so we're going to touch a little bit about traditional Chinese medicine and what other cultures have actually thought about kidney and bladder problems that we as, US don't really think about. So we'll talk about that as we go, because this is in traditional Chinese medicine. The kidneys and the bladder are huge, and you'll see why and what they represent to those people or that culture. And it is one of the number one places they look, as you go. It's absolutely fascinating, the difference between us who think it's just it's not that big a deal, or those kind of things, to other cultures as well. So then there's key herbs. We're not going to be all crazy about the herbs. There's not that. There's a few on here, but we're going to talk about that and also how to make sure your vitamins, your electrolyte, all those things are working in a sense to allow your kidney to do what it does. So that's what we'll talk about, because this is one of my favorite classes in chiropractic school. I don't know why. The teacher was amazingly intense. Maybe I think I like that. I don't know. She was so scary. People would cry going into her room or classroom and cry coming out. And I thought she was the best. I don't know why. I used to just love it. I was like, I can't believe she'd get away with some of the stuff she'd say either. But.
Yeah.
So what does a kidney do? One of the most complex filtration systems throughout the human body. It does so many little things on these little tubules, constant movement. It's crazy. If you ever get a chance, it's called the human body experiment, and it was like where they dissected all the human body out into as many things as possible. Now, a nerd like me thinks that is phenomenal. Some people might be grossed out by that, but what you learn is just the kidney. I remember when Rachel and I went through, that was the most profound organ, I thought, of all things, because of the blood supply. The blood supply is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It has so much of these little capillary beds that are just, it's like it's surrounded by vines, or I'm trying to think of something good in nature. It's like vines overtaking a whole area, right? It's super, and it was super dense of these little capillaries. There's a reason for that, because it's the place where you get all your electrolytes in and out of your system. What are we noticing in society currently? One of the biggest things is, one of the biggest growing parts of healthcare is dialysis, unfortunately. So dialysis is, they could grow, if you want sickness, if you want to invest in a part of healthcare, unfortunately, dialysis might make you a ton of money, because it's just so busy. And we'll talk about why that occurs as well. But this is the key place where it controls so many things. One of the things that you have to understand is your kidneys. As its function goes, so does your blood pressure, right? So if it's not able to do what it's supposed to be, that's where high blood pressure comes from. Also, it is critical to your heart. So these two are so connected through so many different things that we don't even have time in, like, the little time we have tonight. But just understand the regulation of blood pressure is massive. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, because it's definitely something most people over the age of 50 are fighting off a blood pressure medicine or taking one. So that's a thing. All right. So this is what I wanted to talk about first in the traditional Chinese holistic thoughts. The kidney is the essence. It means for their culture, it means immune strength. Like if you have good, strong kidneys when you're a little one, they believe you have good, strong health. You're going to be a very healthy child, or you're going to grow up healthy with not a lot of sickness to you. These are associated. This is a thing that a traditional Chinese medicine doctor would look at. Poor memory, insomnia, listlessness, lack of clarity, and lack of motivation would all indicate for them low kidney or declining function. One of the things also that they think, this is the aging. So they connect this to aging very much. So they see how that person's the poor memory and those kind of things. They will actually treat the kidney first. In a lot of scenarios, we think brain, right? We always constantly do that. Oh, they must have dementia or that kind of thing. What if it is declining kidney function as we go forward, right? So, and then it's kind of cute. Winter is the season. They have this as the season for the kidney. So why it's the warmth, it's the relaxation. A lot of their kidney tonics that we'll talk about in a little bit, they like to focus on the kidney in the wintertime. It's kind of bringing that energy back, kind of like a bear, sleeps all winter to re-energize when it wakes up. It'll have all those things. And so they kind of equate the season of the kidney as the wintertime for traditional Chinese medicine. So sometimes it's good to go through something like that so you can see where everybody stands too, as far as like importance versus different. There's one called Ayurvedic, and traditional Chinese medicine. Those are the two I'll probably talk about the most. They're both herbal in a sense. They just have their different styles of doing it. Okay. So let's start with the herbs tonight. The number one that if you haven't heard about it, you will, because we're going to carry it in the office after reading in depth about this. Rehmannia. So Rehmannia it comes in several forms in traditional Chinese medicine, but it's really good at any kind of what it says here, symptoms of aging. So burnout, joint pains, low back pain, diabetes, actually, chronic urinary disorders, those kind of things. Thirst is another one. Rehmannia is a key that a lot of herbalists use. There's several different kinds if you want to look it up yourself, it's Rehmannia 6 is usually the go-to herbal supplement. It has six other ones, and it's a combination formulation that's really, really good for the kidney. It is probably the go-to of all Chinese, just general blanket, the one you'd use. Mushrooms are up there. They're finding that out more and more. This is kind of a big deal. So not only does reishi help the immune system through the kidney, but it also has a weird help in blood pressure regulation. So there's a medicine out there called an ACE inhibitor. We won't go into that. There's different ones for blood pressure. An ACE inhibitor is something somebody's taking in your life to reduce their blood pressure. Reishi mushroom actually acts almost like it, but in the natural way, which is fascinating because you almost get the same effect. This is kind of new for a lot of people. We didn't know it over here in the United States, but a lot of these mushrooms have a lot of good stuff. Milk thistle is one of my favorite to talk about. If somebody's on if one of your loved ones or you are on a lot of medicines, milk thistle can be very good for protecting against the kidney damage. So one of the reasons why dialysis is getting so commonplace is the amount of drugs we're taking. And the amount of drugs we're taking on top of processed foods, you're asking the most complex filtration system in the world in your body to get through all that. And so a lot of times this milk thistle will help. Let's say you can't get off of a certain amount of medicines or whatever. This milk thistle can help stop that kidney damage, because we all kind of know that the aspirin a day was actually putting people in dialysis more than it was helping with anything. And now it's starting to get in the mainstream that we know if we take too much of this stuff, our kidneys could fail, or our kidneys could end up making us healthy as a horse, except for our kidneys are junk. And so that's where milk thistle can be a really good additive, and it's a good tea too. So, Chinese sage, it helps with a reversal of renal failure. Several patients that are on chronic medicines will start losing their diet's kind of not great. A lot of different pieces go into that, but as people start having renal failure, Chinese sage is really good. However, this is one where I would recommend, getting coached by our office, or, getting with your doctor before you'd even attempt that, because if you're on any type of blood thinners, you got to be wary, because it really works well. Astragalus is kind of cool. If you're not in a space where let's say your kidneys aren't, let's say there's nothing wrong with them, but let's say, what we're going to do in our herbal stuff, in our herbal coaching, is find out about your history, your past history. Let's say your dad had some major kidney issues, right? So astragalus could be one of those good teas or, supplements that you could take, once in a while, just to make sure that the blood flow to your kidneys is good. Cranberries are always good. in a lot of different forms. This one is very good. Cranberries, we don't have to talk a lot. You can eat them. You could have teas. It doesn't really matter. Schisandra is for PE, which or frequent urination sometimes. So those are Schisandras for premature ejaculation and frequent urination. So it has some effects with insomnia as well. So that could be another option for some of the herbs. So I'm not going to dive into much, but just remember the ones I want you to remember the most are Rehmannia, reishi, and milk thistle, because I think in our 1% tribe, and astragalus, because astragalus hits every dang organ out there. If you want to just hit a big go everywhere, astragalus would be your guy. Rehmannia, very specific. Reishi mushrooms, phenomenal for. I have that tea a lot of times, and I literally teas a lot of times I won't feel an actual effect. Reishi mushroom though, you feel different. You really do. I don't know if it's just me, but those kind of things. And then milk thistle is always going to be one that I'll be leaning on as far as like some of my people that I have people that are over 20 medications, and I don't know how you expect not to have something happen. You know what I mean? So, and it's not on the patient. I was like, I'd be very cautious, like as you go forward, because you just never know. So, okay. So we'll talk a little bit about UTIs. One of my favorite thing is meeting my mentor in herbalism is Dr. Low Dog. I got to go to her house in a ranch, 250 acre ranch in New Mexico. Phenomenal. And one of the coolest things, and we'll talk about it as we go in female health as well, is how much we just don't know. And UTIs are a massive problem right now. Massive. And one of the reasons I bring it up is because there's so many different symptom types that it's really, really hard to understand it. So males don't feel it very often. Females feel it very often. Children feel it very often. Older males and older females almost don't feel it at all. Once you have, and the thing about herbs is a beginning UTI, or you kind of have an assumption that you know what it is, they're very effective. In any other scenario, basically, if the UTI went any kind of chronic, go to your doctor before you do any of the herbal stuff, because it's not worth trying to fight it off. This is where antibiotics can be a big thing, right? It can help quite a bit. And that's okay, because we have lots of options coming back. One of the things I got introduced to, which is going to sound crazy on here, but so probiotics, I'm a big, huge guy on the gut bacteria, the microbiome. One of the things that she noted or has treated very well is using for UTIs, doing an oral probiotic, but also for females doing a vaginal probiotic. So there are products out there that actually do that. And especially after a run of antibiotics, let's say it's a really bad UTI, you have to go get the antibiotic, you got to do all those kind of things. But afterwards, you get over it, and now where you're at. This is where we start understanding the preventative measures you can take. So for UTIs, sometimes the oral and vaginal probiotic can be a game changer to everything. There's this thing called D-mannose that a lot of people have heard about for UTIs. It's a simple sugar like glucose, and that's really good. It's just a little different that D-mannose would be even on there, but they found a huge connection to helping prevent a lot of UTIs. So it comes like in a powder form, I believe, but I think it's like a sugar. So I had it, I wrote it down, but it's a sugar. It's just from a different area. But it has some really good antibacterial and antibiotic functions. Uva ursi, that can be an antimicrobial as well. that's a really nice herb for those kind of things. So, Amy, am I going too fast?
No,
Good.
okay.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. So this tonight, I wanted to talk about. We're gonna hit. So we have thoughts, toxins, trauma in our 1% tribe. I want to break it down into in our herb life. I want to break that down into 3 different ways. So I want to do supplement, food, tea, right? So supplement, food, tea. In your head, you're going to do one of these things because 1%, you might not get to all these things. So if I give you all this info and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have 7 teas to get to today, 22 supplements that are for each one, and then I better have just an absolute damn garden for breakfast, or else I won't get it all in. That's not really the intention of tonight. Tonight is to kind of find those points, understand what you're doing, and actually have knowledge of what you're putting in your body. And I think we can do that. And as you go, herbs aren't supposed to be taken every day, or sometimes, unless if you have something going on. Sure, yeah, is to have something positive. If you've had chronic kidney things your whole life, maybe start with cranberries every day. And then this one I wanted to bring up here because it's really easy to add to your life. Because I think a lot of it's in stores. Java tea. Java tea is massive. It's really, really good for all things kidney. Is it going to stop you from having a UTI? No, but if I can give you a little bit more energy and support that kidney, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next couple slides too, of why that support is so important. Because this is where holistic disagrees with medical a lot of times. So kidney stones, what to do and what they mean. Okay. There's tons of different kinds. That's why it's super important to actually find out what type of stone you're having, which no one even understands that that's a thing. You say, I have kidney stones. So there's ones called calcium stones. That's usually the most popular. This is why I'm saying that vitamin D thing, because one of the things that can happen is you can offset and push out a lot of calcium that you need in your body. Or if you take too much calcium in your diet, you can also have that as well. So calcium stones are pretty common. There's one called the uric acid stone. That's your excess uric acid in the blood. That's only like 10% of the time. Struvite stones, they're kidney stones that contain magnesium. And then repeated urinary tract infections. And cystine stones, those are 2%. They have a hard time digesting or processing amino acids. So these are all different ones. I don't care if you know these ever. The difference is like if you have one, use what we have. If we have the availability out there to find out what type of stone it is, it helps you immensely. Now, here's my holistic chiropractic viewpoint. Kidney stones or stones in any organ really are a struggling organ. So for me, any organ that builds stones is struggling with something. So you either have a left or right kidney or something. It's not either getting something or it's under too much toxic load. And you always got to remember your heart has a superior connection to your kidneys because that's how the traffic flow is. So one of the things that happens is once we figure out what type of stone it is, then you need to really take kidney stones to heart, because a lot of people think it's just a genetic thing or your parents had it, and like we've learned in so many times in our epigenetic talk, that's just a subconscious program your body learned from your parents, right? So those subconscious programs, once they happen, you can get them change. You can make them change, and that's where this one I hear is very genetic, all the time, where we don't look at like aiding the kidney in its support so that it doesn't do that. So it doesn't create these stones that are horrible, right? So, and if anybody's had any stones, it's worse than many, many things. So, all right. So what do you do if we have recurring stones? So I would first find out what kind, right? That's the number one thing. We want to increase fluids, which is kind of a no-brainer. We hear that one all the time. Try to drink more water, do all kinds of things. Remember too, I heard this today, listening in my reviewing my notes for this. One of the things I thought was fascinating is eating moist things. So like eating fruit that has like a lot of juice, right? Those help those internal organs that do that. So when you're thinking, or when you're having those fruits and veggies and all those things, they have a lot of water in there. Celebrate that. That's what you want, because it's like it's kind of lubricating the rest of your body. Okay, so just think that way when you're making your salads or those fruits all the time. This is kind of interesting. So magnesium citrate and supplements that use citrate there's other, I think there's calcium citrate, there's quite a few different ones. Those two have a very kidney protective situation where they found a lot of good things on magnesium. Like, so if you're taking magnesium already, maybe getting magnesium citrate is even a better way. Now you're protecting your kidneys and getting the magnesium you need, right? So, and then dietary changes are interesting because in my 23 years of practice, my kidney stones have been from vegetarian to meat eaters. It's fascinating. My vegetarians eat a lot of things like different type. I'm not sure why the vegetarians have as much issues, but I think it's more of the struggle of the organ possibly. And it kind of makes sense why the meat eaters do, because the meat eaters, there's a lot of calciums in there. Something like we talked about before. I'm a big fan of doing like small runs of like the keto diet or, those kind of things. Just little runs, just to get your body kind of cleansed for that. But like long-term people that are on keto really start wreaking havoc on your kidneys. So you just got to be careful of that. All right, so let's do it. What are we going to do for our 1% improvement? We're going to get you a Romania supplement. Check with us. We'll be carrying it at the office. If not, you can go on. I would recommend just punching in Romania 6. If you don't want to wait for us, you can, find your supplement out there. But we'll be carrying it on a regular basis because of we see a lot of back pain. And if we can do anything and remember, your back is associated with all the organs as well. You're not getting organ, your low back, they're all connected. So that is a big thing. And then if we can add something to you, cranberries in your diet is always a cool thing. And that will be something fun for you to add to it. So just pick one of these. So then we're going to talk about this. So check your thinking. And this is where Amy comes in. Let's say, so one of the big keys to kidney problems is they believe also you might have the feeling of that you're not living up to your potential. So you could have that, right? And if that could be the issue, now we understand how to find that subconscious program that's actually doing it to you. So that is very good. Or those people that think they're getting old all the time because they can't do something, because you get hit in your face with feeling old all the time. And then all of a sudden that becomes a thought pattern. And if our energy of aging is living in our kidneys, what are we going to have a problem with? If that makes sense, hopefully. So when we start having struggles with aging, and that's kind of like the not living up to potential thing, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I haven't gotten this far or whatever, then the kidneys and the bladder can be a big place. And try to reduce as much toxins in your body as you possibly can. Drugs, chemicals, those kind of things. Sadie, hello. You came right when I get to talk. Hello, Sadie. All right. So if you haven't done it yet and you like what we're doing, get people to do it's actually Tribe One. I think it's tribe1.substack.com. So I got to change that slide, but it's tribe1.substack.com. And then if they get on our newsletter or our thing, they'll get an email that they can jump on the Zoom any night. So there we go. And I'm going to stop the screen share. Do we have any questions out there?
So were you, that's a good job. You said supplements, food, and tea. Did you cover all those, or you're just covering the supplement part?
So like tonight, Romania 6 would be your good point, right? So
Okay.
Romania 6 or Romania would be your supplement. Your food would be cranberries, and then your tea could be your Java tea.
Gotcha.
All mixed up in there. So there's a lot of different options for that as you go.
Yeah.
But now you'll have 3 different things. You could make, I'm so excited. I want to make a book of this. Like, imagine if you had like kidney day Monday, heart day is Tuesday, right? Gut day is Wednesday. You can kind of do that. And then if you have other issues, you just add those 2, right? So you'd make sure you're getting some stuff in there, no matter what it is. But that way you have kind of that 1% mindset of like, okay, I can do this tonight. I can do the next one, and you're like, oh, tonight's kidney day. So, but you can see how important it is, like where there's so many different, just the low, I'll say like us dealing with low back all the time. It's so confusing if you have a kidney stone or a UTI or, the feelings you get with these is just over the top, bad compared to everything else. So that's right. Sadie, you gonna draw me a picture? I want to draw my face. What if I
draw a picture of Jeremy?
Want to do it?
No.
Oh.
She's writing letters.
Writing letters. Is it to me?
No. Just
no?
She's writing A and B and R's.
Oh, that's cool. You do cursive?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I know. That is cool. All right. So I'll move on to Christy. Christy's got a question. And I think, yes, fire away.
You mentioned vitamin D and not doing too much. What level are we speaking is too much?
Okay. Good question. So a lot of times it just depends. That's what the problem's been. Like we have done really good at upping our vitamin D. So there's a really quick test you can do. Like we have one that you can do the whole panel and it's a little pricey, but you get a lot of info out of that. But your doctor could probably do a vitamin D check on you pretty quick. When it starts getting sunny though, you can go down to, I would say, I don't want to tell you like, let's say 200 milligrams a day, or I can't remember nanograms, or that smaller, just the recommended dose of whatever it says to do on the package. In the winter, you're going to definitely want to up it. So once a year, you should probably get a blood or vitamin D check in your blood. The reason I say that is because you can have because we supplement with calcium so well. That's one of our problems is like we supplement so well with calcium that we're taking calcium and then if vitamin D is already present, then it's competing and then we'll get rid of the calcium or, those kind of things. So that's been the biggest issue I've seen. We just had a patient do the blood work and she had high vitamin D, and sometimes that'll lead to fatigue. There's a nice balance there, but if you get over that, now it's very reversible. It's like not even a hard thing. But once you figure out your level, it's really good to kind of attack it that way. Now that we've taken vitamin T, most of my people that have doing the supplement, we were so chronically low for so long that it was scary throughout, and then in Michigan, this, we get like, 2 days of sunshine and the rest is like fog of London, death town. It's like, what is happening? Especially this year.
I tend to take the multivitamin, which has it. And then in the winter, I take an extra vitamin D.
Perfect.
But then I stop this time of the year.
Exactly. So that's what you want to do. Just don't take the extra one. The one in your multi is going to be perfect. So
Okay.
yeah. So, and then at some point, if you go to the doctor or, want to do our blood work, you just go in, check it once a year, see how it's rolling, see how your numbers turn out, and you'll see where you're at.
I do get that done every year, and nothing's alarmed yet.
Yeah, and that's all you really want to do. One of the coolest things about what we're gonna this whole movement that I want to start with, like this whole tribe, is you're gonna know how to read stuff on there. Like I hope, one day we'll actually go through. I think that'd be a cool Zoom. Take those numbers and start breaking them down. What does it know? Like as we go too, just to show you, like you can do this. Like the more empowered you are, the more you can just make such good choices. So that is awesome. All right, Jess, you got a question? Bam. You have 2 different colored hands. That is fascinating to me. All right, Jess, go ahead.
I was just following up with the vitamin D, but I've got recent information that, like, if you're doing it in the multivitamin, there might be a vitamin K in there that helps your body process the vitamin D. But if you're taking solely vitamin D, that sometimes you need some K with it or something like that.
Yep. That could be. It just depends on the person. They're selling it a lot like that. A lot of like Google articles and stuff. Like, oh my God, you have to have vitamin K. And it's
luckily I can self-test, but not everybody can do that.
Exactly. Oh, that's another day.
Yeah,
we're totally doing this. We're gonna self-test, Jess. It's gonna happen. Well, what my whole goal too of this, honestly, Amy knows this. Once the chaos of one child gone, goes to high college, which is amazing. She's done amazing stuff, but we're going to have I want to do a seminar. That's one reason I did I have this cool party barn back there with all the bells and whistles, so we can do various pieces. And now that Amy's through her thing, which before we end, I want Amy to talk a little bit, because she probably could tell everybody. So, but any other questions on the kidney stuff? Because that was some good info.
All set.
Okay, cool. We'll have another one for sure. I just couldn't believe how much there was. I mean, you're talking prostate, you're talking more on the bladder. So many good answers out there I didn't even touch saw palmetto for the prostate for men. And that's just simple basic ones are phenomenal. But, the discovery of each one, you guys keep me on track where I get to study this each week. So I love that part. So where, not only are you guys learning, I get to learn it even further and see the stuff you miss each week. Right. So then I look through the urinary, I'm like, we could do a weekend just doing this on the kidney. So it's kind of hard that way, but as long as you understand that there's supplement, food, tea. So supplement, Romania, that's where I'm kind of keeping you.
Mm-hmm.
Food, cranberry. And then the tea, Java tea. Yeah. And then milk thistle. If you know somebody or want to, especially if you have some like older loved ones that are on a lot of medic prescriptions, that could be a good gift. Say, hey, you're going to try this milk thistle tea. It's really good to protect your kidneys so we don't end up in dialysis when you have to be on 15 different medicines. So, and it's milk thistle can be a game changer for those people, especially as older we get, the more stuff that ends up being in our system. And the more, if you remember, when kidneys go bad, pain starts happening too, right? So that was a big thing that the Chinese medicine was there. A bunch of low back pain, a ton of things are happening there. So we good. I think that was awesome. Yeah. Hopefully everyone didn't miss us too much last week. I was so enamored with what we got to learn. It was so fun. This low level, people will love it. Like the low level laser, once we get it, a lot of brain conditions, a lot of organs you can work on, like so many different things that we've seen the laser work in real time. That's one reason why we brought it. I love kind of any kind of things that introduce energy. That's what a chiropractic adjustment is, right? I'm introducing an energy force into your body, and your body has to do with what it needs to. And that's the essence of chiropractic. So and then Amy, you got anything on the Psych K that you'd like to share? Because I'm putting you on the spot, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll try to, I guess, keep it short. You can use Psych K for anything in your life, any area that you want to change the way you think about something. So yeah, if you're, you have kidney issues, and what'd you say the Chinese think that you
lack the full potential?
Lack the full potential.
Yeah, you're not leading up to your potential, right?
So it's kind of like, in a way, positive affirmations, finding figuring out a good goal statement, instead of saying my kidneys don't work, or my grandma had bad kidneys, so I'm going to have bad kidneys. You could create a good goal statement, which I can help you do. And then we can balance that to retrain your subconscious mind, so you're not thinking that way. So you could say, like, my kidneys always function, how they're supposed to for me, or, something like that. So that's your new way of thinking, is my kidneys always function the way that they're supposed to. My organs always function the way they're supposed to for me and my body. And then we do a balance for that and retrain your subconscious mind. And then things start changing.
Yeah, that's so
every single thing in your life, you can change. You can change. Not anybody else. You can change.
It's crazy, because you're going to not believe me in any of what we're about to say, but most of the people that come in to our chiropractic office either have with a condition or something. I would say not most. I'd probably say 50-50. Most have a thought attached to where they're at. Most have a thought to attach to where they're at. So a lot of people grew up with the dad that had back problems, right? Had back pain, back problems, all those kind of things. That led their subconscious program to believe that they were going to have back problems at a certain age. And their body just knows that. Their body's tracking that entire thing. You're running the subconscious program the entire time. What do you do, right? How is it possible that, the entire family has? How can you have, then this is what, Amy's stuff. How can you have two identical twins separated at birth, have two such different experiences based on one was poor, one had a rich, loving environment? So you had poor environment, rich, loving environment, two completely different manifestations of health. They should have genetically been about the same, right? So you see that with just that process, that tells you that maybe you're doing okay. So you've heard this one all the time, because I get this one. The guys that come in, This is one of my favorite parts of chiropractic. The guys that come in, I'm their last ditch effort. They've been to 17 MDs, 7 nutrition people, and they're just sitting in my chair. What are you going to do? And so once you hear their journey, then you find out a little bit, I'll bring up a lady today or this month. A lady came from a neurosurgeon, actually. She was wearing a back brace, pretty heavy, pretty young, to be wearing something like that. And we start going through the process, and I could already see she'd been through chiropractic. They hurt her and, did all this stuff. So I'm listening to where she's at, and she can barely move, and, or she's physically doing that. What I said, do you have family that had this? Yes, my mom had this exact same thing, right? When about my age. I'm like, okay, did you know? And this is how simple it can be, because this lady actually accepted it, but it's much more complex. Most people don't take to this, and I don't guess that well. That's why Psych K is like so cool, because you don't even know like what subconscious thing, is messing with you until you actually figure it out. But I said to her, did you know you don't have to have that? She goes, what? I go, your mom's back is not your back. You don't have to do that. It's not a thing. And then, so we just start working on her. I go, and by the way, it's going to hurt today. She's like, what? I go, I'm not backing off on you because you're way too strong. You're way too strong. And I kept pushing that she was way too strong to be putting up with all these joint malfunctions. It wasn't that they weren't there. They were all there. Like her entire spine was a map of doom. And she had so we had to start working on her, and it hurt. And she came back the next day, and I knew it coming out, because I was like, okay, set her up pretty early, because she's going to be pissed off like tomorrow, pretty much. She comes in and she's like, I am so sore. I go, exactly. And I go, but you know what that soreness is? That's your strength. Oh, well, I'm so excited. That's why I had to bring this one up, because like a week ago, she comes in, no back brace, nothing. What did we change? Nothing. Chiropractic stuff. She's been through that before. They probably did all the same adjustments. However, her belief system changed, and that was the difference. Like, she went to her job, she picked up a box, threw it over there, and she goes, well, I'm strong enough. I know my body can get through this. So she's doing it. I go, we still take precautions, right? I don't want her to have that re thing, but dang, was that a cool one? Because it doesn't happen that easy. So most of the time, right? We got like so many other layers, and hers was so easy though. But she had gone down to the last ditch. Like, if you heard me in the beginning, she was ready to get the whole thing rotted together. That's what she was ready for. She was like, just put a rod in there. Don't let any joint move anymore. And so that's where people get. And sometimes you have to, and that's what sucks too. It's like, sometimes you have to see them at that part to start really diving into these different ones. But I digress. I apologize. I missed you guys. That's why I didn't get to talk. That's the problem. But we did good. We had still 7 minutes left. So
Yeah.
well, we got any other questions, you two? Christy, you good?
I'm good.
All right, Jess, you good?
Also good. Thank you.
Amy, we are good.
Awesome.
I'm excited for the summer to start, the spring. It's so awesome. But all the new stuff happening, it'll be pretty fun. It'll be a little wild, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
See ya.